Let's talk about the rings on a barbell, also known as the score marks or the knurl marks on a barbell. What are they used for, and also how might they pose a problem for the new or inexperienced lifter? Can it get any more exciting than this? Let's take a look at a couple different barbells. First up on top here we have the Ohio Power Bar, a 20 kilo bar manufactured by Rogue Fitness. Next up we have the Starting Strength Bar, also a 20 kilo bar manufactured by Texas Power Bars. And down here at the bottom we have a weightlifting bar manufactured by Rogue Fitness. This is a 15 kilo bar, so it's the women's weightlifting bar, but that's immaterial because the markings, whether it's a men's bar or a women's bar, are going to be the same. Let's take a look at the rings. You'll notice the set of rings here matches up, lines up with the inner set of rings on this bar right here. These are known as the powerlifting rings or the power rings. They are 81 centimeters apart or 32 inches. You'll also notice on the starting strength bar here, this is a dual ringed or a dual marked bar. The outer set of rings matches up with the only set of rings on this bar. The outer set of rings, those are known as the weightlifting rings or the Olympic rings. They are 91 centimeters apart or 36 inches apart. What do we use these rings for? These rings are used as reference points. Specifically in the sport of powerlifting, this is why these are called the power rings. In the sport of powerlifting, these rings are used to determine the maximum legal width for the bench press. In the sport of weightlifting, specifically the sport of the snatch and the clean and jerk, we have the weightlifting rings or the outside set of rings here. The grip for both the clean and specifically the snatch is a fairly wide grip. Again, specifically the snatch. So you can see where having a set of rings that's a little bit wider than this set right here, than the inside set, would be a useful thing for purposes of reference, for where to place your hands for those lifts. The rings are useful for reference points for your grip, but a potential problem can arise. This usually happens to new lifters or new competitors in the barbell sports, but it can happen to the experienced lifter as well. And the problem happens when you go from training on a barbell that you're accustomed to using or competing with that bar, and then you go and train on or you compete with a different barbell. Let's say that you're used to competing or you're used to training with a single ring barbell, let's say something like this power bar, and then you go and use a barbell that has two rings, and suddenly you move to this barbell and you're not sure which set of those rings you should be using for your reference point for, say, your bench or your press. Likewise, let's say you've been using a bar like this that has two sets of rings and you go and compete in your first weightlifting meet and suddenly you only see one set of rings, and looking back you're not sure which set of rings you were using. So the takeaway here is know your equipment. If you're not sure which set of rings you've been using, get out a tape measure, figure it out. It's pretty easy. 32 inches, 36 inches. Know your equipment, that way your lifts can be reproducible, your technique can be reproducible wherever you go. Hope this helps.